So, this is the Bunny Must Die tutorial, speedrunning tutorial, that I'll be going through. Just as a note, I use a controller. You can use a keyboard, it doesn't matter too much. But if you're going to use a controller, you have to use auto hotkey to bind the escape key to one of your buttons. So that's something I've done, and the escape key is quite useful in quite a number of ways. One of which is at the very beginning, which is the text. Normally there's about 3 to 4 text boxes in the very beginning cutscene, but you can just skip it immediately by pushing escape. To make it 4 text boxes total, makes it a whole lot faster. So I'm going to just do a 100% run using run warps as well. Yeah. Let's see. So to do the backdash, you see down a dash. And to do it as fast as possible, you need to basically jump off the ground as fast as you can, and like double tap jump as fast as you can. And when you land, you want to jump again on the second frame you land. If you try and jump on the first frame you land, or at least as close on the second frame. If you try and jump on the first frame you land, you actually screw up the backdash. I missed that jump. It's possible, but a little difficult. Now, this boss is different in the international version and compared to the doujin version, which I use. So this strategy here when you pick up the sword is going to be different. I'll see if I can do that later, but I kind of screwed that boss up. Okay, so with the dash boots, it's double tap to dash, but you can actually buffer the first hit, the first tap. So here I'm holding left or right, and I just have to re-tap it to actually do a dash. So you don't actually have to double tap, you can just buffer the first tap. Now when you do have the dash boots, you get dash kicking, which is really useful, both in platforming and in actually as an actual attack. So, but there's one thing you need to know when platforming. If you know how far I made it there versus how far I make it right here, it's a little bit further, and that's actually very relevant. As you can see right here, if I don't hold the attack button, then I can't make that dash kick, but if I hold the attack button, and I do it right, there we go, then I can actually make that jump. Now for this little jump it probably doesn't make much of a difference, but later we will see that it makes a huge difference. So here I time stop so you can just make this platform cycle. Okay, so parrying, something I just did right there. So how it works is that you push any direction at all before you get hit, precisely 8 frames before you get hit, and you will parry. If you do it on the ground, you just don't take damage and you do a parrying animation, which really isn't that useful on a speedrun. But what is useful is parrying in mid-air, which gives you an extra jump. Now, there is a little more to that. See, there I can make it very easily. But if I push a direction 40 frames before I actually try to do a parry, it will fail. And that's whenever you hit the direction, and not so much when you hold it. See, if I were to... let's see... yeah. See, I was holding a direction there, and it didn't matter. But if I were to push a direction, it won't... parrying won't happen. So there's a 40 frame cooldown after you parry. And when you do parry, you have 13 frames of invincibility, where you can't get hit. Right now that's not relevant, but later that will become relevant. When we get to it. I screwed up something there. Right there is just a platform cycle. Okay, so with the tank here, the quickest way to beat it, as far as we know, is to just dash kick it. Now it's important that you do not hold an attack while you're dash kicking. Now you can use time stop to make the, probably after 2 kicks. After 1 kick, I'm not exactly sure myself. I've been testing with both of them to just basically stop attacks from coming, but that's all. That's basically all the tricks you can do on that. So, continuing on with the round. Everything there is pretty much straightforward. So there are a lot of uses for time reversal in this run. I'll probably get to them when they come up. Okay, so that jump is actually very, well, it's quite specific. You don't want to bonk your head, and you don't want to, you actually do want to jump, so that's something. And here we have another extended dash kick where you have to hold attack to make it all the way up there. And here's an example of buffering, is you can just hold attack to make it. Oh, right. One thing I forgot to mention about dashing. About dash kicking. Or it's more about just dashing in general. To actually maintain your dash, you need to be holding left or right the whole time. So if I let go of left or right, I lose my dash. So if you're dashing through very long sections and you want to keep it, you have to make sure and hold left or right. Now, as it turns out, it doesn't matter which direction you hold, left or right, even if you're dashing in the other direction, as I can demonstrate again, right there. So it's relevant. By the way, like I can time reverse after I get that heart container, because I got the heart container while 1, the number 1 was appeared on the switch there. If the switch gets unpressed by the time you get the heart container, you have to repress it before you can do time reversal again. So the reason why we picked up the... Well, we'll see what the reason why we picked up the idol around. Yeah, see there? That's one thing to watch out for when you're dashing, and the momentum of your dashing, basically. So there's a specific strategy in this room. I want to time stop the moment I hit this corner while I'm dashing in. And if I'm fast enough and I do an extended kick, I can make that platform. Oops. Okay. So, the next thing you do in a 100% run is you wrong warp. The way wrong warping works is that you try and reset the game 1 frame before a text box appears. Then you use the recall ability of the bunny doll. Now this is very specific. You need to dash kick from the right. By the way, I should probably... I forgot that, screw that up. So I messed up there simply because, I let things go by as I was explaining. So here's another spot that the escape button is used. The escape button can be used to pause the game, but unlike the actual pause button, it will pause the game as soon as possible. And it also skips text, which is convenient here. And the time power-up has 2 text boxes. It has 2 separate text messages, basically. And that's unique to the time power. And specifically with 3rd through 7th, because 8th, 9th, and 10th power, you don't actually get another power with time. So during this 1 frame, as I do escape, I do return to title, then the next text box appears. And this this text box, every single text box, I think, has an ID, and with this wrong warping glitch, it brings you to what I think is it basically changes the ID of the text box with the ID of the room you're in, but to actually go into that room, you have to do the recall. Now that wrong warp has to be done with a dash kick from the right. Otherwise, you actually get stuck in one of the walls there, and you just die. So what I just did there was another extended dash kick, and this is a very important one in the 100% run. It basically makes this entire route possible. And this route is 2 minutes faster than, I think, the next one I found. I think there's another... Yeah, 2 minutes faster than if you weren't able to do that. So, skip these mini-bosses, it's pretty straightforward, you just time reverse. Sometimes it doesn't work if you're dashing while doing it, even if you don't have 5-time power-ups. Not exactly sure why. Whatever. Ah, that sucks. Don't actually want to pick up the boomerangs. Here you time stop just basically to get that pumpkin in a good position. Because I'm going to parry off it as I move left. And basically you move left and parry with the same input. So you just get up here with some parries. It's hard to do at first, I think. I've done it so many times that I can pretty much do it by instinct. Just as a word of caution, to actually hit that spike with be able to parry that spike over there, I think you cannot be at the very edge as you do your dash, because of the parry cooldown when you push left. It's a little over 40 frames, apparently. I haven't checked it myself. And another thing you'll see, like in an actual run, is that I'll pause here for half a second. And I really mean half a second, so I can actually make that parry. Oh, shit. I picked up the boomerangs. I don't feel comfortable doing this next trick with them. Here you see me parry and wait for the cooldown, so you can consistently go through spikes. Okay. So this next trick can be done with the sword or daggers. I'll show up the sword first, and I'll do the daggers later. Daggers is relevant for any percent, and I'll probably get into that later. So, okay, what happened there is that I held left the whole entire time, and that's obvious. And because I didn't push any direction, I was only holding a direction, and I could parry as soon as possible. Now, one thing to note when you actually do that time reversal is that you should probably wait half a second, maybe less, before you do time reverse, so you don't actually so you don't get yourself stuck in the floor. So that's an issue that comes up. Alright, next up is the hardest trick, or at least one of the hardest tricks in any run of this game. And that's what we call the laser parry. So you know how I said that there's a 13-frame invincibility? That is relevant here. So that's the laser parry. It makes you get through one of the hardest rooms in the game. So you need to stand on this tile right here, which is it's a little hard to tell because of how the tiles work. It's kind of cut off in some places, but there. Okay, I forgot about showing the trick with the dagger. So I'm going to pause the game approximately where you want to push the attack button, so you can do this mini boss skip with the dagger. About there. Didn't let me attack, so let me try it again. So that's how you do the skip with the dagger. It's somewhat specific. I'd say it's harder to do with the sword. I mean, easier to do with the sword. Another thing with this laser parry is that you want to position yourself kind of on the left-ish of the turret, mainly because of how the parrying cycles work. To do the very last parry, you need to do that parry as you're holding right. Just simply because if you hold right, if you're in the middle-ish or right-ish part of the laser, then when you try and get around, you'll end up just falling and not parrying because you're out of the hitbox of the laser. Now right there, I messed up my cycle. That's a failed laser parry. It's still worth doing because it leaves you fairly high up in the room, even if you do mess up. So, with the... so I said that there are 13 frames of invincibility after you parry. The reason why that's relevant is if you try and push... if you try and push a direction either up or down, 5 frames after you do a parry, you will fail that parry. Or you will fail one of the successive parries. So, the actual 6th frame where parrying starts to work on this laser parry is when Bunny is in her, the crouched spinning animation. Like the first frame she goes in that animation. Here, let me... So. Messed that up. But yeah, that's how laser parrying works in a nutshell. Or kind of parrying. Not much. Whatever. These platforms are still difficult to make. What you have to do is run without the jump boots. The skip is pretty easy. Okay. The next thing here is sort of unnecessary. It's just a small little adjustment in speed. It's like saves minor seconds, if that. And it's turning off their equipment. Specifically the stomp boots. If you hold up and pause, you can turn off equipment. If you don't have the jump boots, you turn off the stomp boots, or wall jump boots. If you don't have the wall jump boots, you can turn off the stomp boots by pushing with 2 toggles of the 2 equipment toggles. If you have the wall jump boots, then it's 4 toggles to turn on and off the stomp boots. You do that because in this version of the game, the doujin version, you can actually stomp on these little torches, and it slows you down a little bit, and it can screw you up. Again, it's not necessary right here. It's a little bit more necessary later on, but whatever. So, this torch here has the spike hammer. I'm still debating whether or not it's worth picking up right here. In actual attempts where you can reset, you you definitely want to pick it up right here. If you want to be safe, I'm still not sure if you want to pick it up or not. The reason why is because text boxes appear when you pick up weapons for the first time, and with text boxes that means wrong warping. Now the reason why it's relevant is because you might want to use the spike hammer warp if you mess up this next warp. So I'll see if I can show both, so I won't pick it up right now. Oh yeah, another reason why you do want to have the spike hammer there in actual attempts is because you need the spike hammer for... you don't need it, but it's really, really good to have when you're doing sign warps. So, here we go up to Alice. The strategy differs depending on the type of run you're doing. In any percent without warps, you actually want to be on the middle with the spike hammer and time stop the spike hammer in Alice. We're going to see that later, so like against death specifically, so you don't have to worry about that. And that's a decent strategy for fighting Alice even in 100%. But the reason why that doesn't really work here is because you have 4 time power-ups in 100%, whereas in any percent warpless you have 3 time powers. And by the way, in any percent with warps, you warp off Alice, so you don't actually need to fight her. Okay, so the strategy I use, which is the fastest strategy, is to do dash kicks. Basically, you want to start the dash kick as Alice is on the bottom of her bouncing, and you kind of want to keep right of her. Now, after a few dash kicks, you want to keep right of her, and you want to angle your dash kicks upwards and all that. After you do a bunch of dash kicks, you get her health down to kind of 1 square-ish, and you time stop. Now this is sort of the reason why this strategy is faster, is because if you kick enemies in time stop, you can actually deal damage to them, and you actually skip the final phase of Alice, and she just dies immediately. That's the fastest way to kill her. Now the reason why the strategy is different in any percent warpless is because when you stop time with 4 time power-ups, it consumes a lot more time power than if you had 3. And that plays into the role both with simply time stopping to get the spike hammer into Alice, and with actual kicking, because you consume, for some reason you consume time power if you have 4 or more time power-ups and you're kicking, whereas if you have 3 or less, you don't actually consume time power, except for the time power that you normally consume while time is stopped. So in the 100% run, you have to actually parry off of these turrets to get up there. And it's RNG whether or not the turret there goes clockwise or counterclockwise. So that's clockwise. Let me show off counterclockwise. Okay. So you can do it both ways. Now, this next warp can be done one of 2 ways. I prefer one method, Saber prefers another method. I'll show both of them off if I can. And to actually do that, I'm gonna have to save first. But before I say that, there's something kind of weird with pausing in this game. Where if you hold the jump button and pause, then every other time you'll simply undo the pause. See, I'm holding jump, I push pause, and it pauses for 1 frame and then unpauses immediately. But if I push it again, it'll pause like normal. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind as you're doing this. So the method I like to do is to just jump and pause as quick as possible. Now, this takes a little practice, but I know that I'm 1 frame before picking up this item. If you identify that you're 2 frames before you pick up the item, what you can do is you can hold escape and then confirm out. So, the reason why there are 2 ways to pick up this orb is because if you're a little too much to the left, or if you're on the left half of the orb as you do this wrong orb, then you actually get stuck. So you want to be on the right half of this orb. And you can't be going right to left, because that will push you to the left and into a wall. So I did the wrong orb, and killed myself, and I end up right here. See, if I were to be 1 block to the left as I end up out of this, then I would end up in the wall and I'd die. Now I'm going to show you the other method, which you might like better. It's pretty much up to personal preference. Since Saver prefers the method, I'll show it off. I saved so I didn't have to fight Alice again. Okay. So what you do is you jump off from the left. Okay, here's an example of escape with frame advance with escape. You can only do it once for some reason. So I happen to know I am 2 frames off from picking up this item. So I'm going to hold escape, confirm, and I have advanced 1 frame. Now I know I'm 1 frame away, and I can do the wrong one. So that's one very useful reason to use the escape key. It's because it turns frame perfect tricks into 2 frame tricks, which is a big difference. Now the next thing we do is a sign word, which is why in actual attempts you actually want to have a spike hammer. So I can pick it up. Alright, the spike hammer text. If you miss that green orb, then what you can do is you can go back and pick up that spike hammer and warp off it. And that brings you to the fire area, or thermonuclear plant, to the right side of the area, so you can just... So what you can do is you can go grab the purple orb and leave. And just leave the area, and walk directly to this next destination that we're at. So, the next warp we do in 100% run is off of this side. Now there are, after this sign warp, there are a lot of things to say right now. The reason why you need the spike hammer is because to actually get out of, to continue game, you have to do attack. You can't do another button. So to actually, and if you're holding attack, as you get out of the menu, you end up attacking. Now to actually reassign, you need to crouch. And if you try and crouch and attack at the same time, basically you can't even crouch and attack at the same time. So, that's how that is. So if you use the spike hammer, you can attack, push the attack button without actually doing anything, other than confirming out of the text box. So it takes 0.15 seconds to read a sign from a standing position. Now you need to make sure you're in a standing position and you're holding down, which is why I did up, down. You're holding down, so basically you're buffering crouching. So if you see on the very bottom right, my hundredths of a second is at 26. I want to advance to specifically 41 in this case to get the right one. So I confirm by pushing attack and pausing as quick as I can. Mess it up. So I try again. This time I want to go for 31. 71, 86. 2 frames. Now you can advance by 1 frame if you know you're 1 frame away. And that's either 13 or 14 from your initial destination, from your initial number. Or 1 or 2 off from the number that you're going for. So 10. 35. Okay. So I know I'm 1 frame off of doing, or no, 2 frames off of reading the sign. So I hold escape. Now I push confirm. I've advanced 1 frame. I'm on the exact frame I want to do, and I reset. The reason why we use the buffer this one is because you can do it without the spike hammer. The problem is I don't know if this frame is the frame before I read the text box, or 2 frames before I read it. It is actually, it's not really possible to tell. So if I hit continue, I don't know if if the text box is going to appear. It did. It's really hard to try and do. I think the glitch is still active, so I'm going to use my doll. Nope. I exited. So it's probably faster right now to just try it without. I don't think I got it. See, this is why you want to have the spike hammer. It's trying to do it without. It's just really hard to tell. And if the pause menu appears after the text box appears, that means that you're 1 frame late. Okay. So this one, it's not as important that you screw up the warp that you reset the game. Okay. So as you do the warp, you want to be very aware of where you end up. Because for some reason, sometimes I will end up moving to the right or left as I'm falling that small little area. And getting getting onto this block as quick as possible is really important, because this room is just hard to do without getting the parry off as quick as possible. So now we just get the next doll. Now here, if you turned off the snot boots, you might want to turn them back on. Because stomping these guys is easy. Even if you have a spike hammer, being able to stomp that guy is nice. But the spike hammers and these guys are going to die a bit easier. Ugh, that sucks. Normally I want to bash straight through those spikes, but since I happen to get hit there, can't really do that. Let's see if I can make it through without... So, starting in the forest, you can actually start using bunny dolls if you make a mistake. That was a bad attempt at turning stumbles. Not used to having the daggers here. So if you dash through here, what you want to do is, around this area, you want to hit the wall that way, and it's just basically easy to get through. Just time stops to make that part a little easier, and we get jump hits. So, and right there, that's basically the most easiest, consistent method I've come up with. Right there's maybe a good time to turn off the boots so you can stand on that platform. Again, just minor adjustments for small amounts of time. But what's... I'm gonna do this next part fast. So you want to be low health. If you have high health and you can spare getting hit by a spike, you want to do so right now. 1, 2, 3, jump. Now what I just did there is I reversed time with the platform to just basically boost myself up, because the magnitude of time when you're going backwards is greater than normal time. So using the platform to boost yourself up saves a little bit of time. On that one specific, it might not be worth doing because you want to have time power, maybe. Failed an extended kick there. Do an extended kick to do that. Right here, I'm not in standing position. So right here, it's 8. The number I need is 8. So I'm gonna basically sign warp. So, the reason why you want to take damage is because the fastest way to take damage in this room is off of this tank right here. And if you have full life, that can take some amount of time. And that's part of the reason, right there is part of the reason why you want to have some time powers, so you can do that time reversal. Just something to keep in mind. The next warp we're going to do is off the Busty suit. It's a hilarious warp. I'll put it that way. I won't frame it off, pick it up, kill myself. Now I can't actually get out of the Busty suit before I do the warp. So there's that. It's fast. It's fastest to just get out of the Busty suit as quick as possible. This extended kick. Stop. Here. That turret there on the left, depending on how you do your jumps, you can parry off of that turret, off of the lasers from the turret. Another thing to just keep in mind. So you get here. Okay, what I do right there at the very end is I hold jump and let go as I get onto the very last one. Just a small little adjustment. Just up here. Let's try that again. I want to show it off correctly. Basically, what you do is you can do 2 parries to land yourself exactly on that switch. All here. This route, so you already have the green orb. Extend it quickly here. Jump. Pick up the orb, kill that guy. Get the switch there. You need it for exactly 1 doll. Here, if you have time stop. Okay, if you time stop against death, the lasers are replaced with a kind of slashy move, and for some reason it doesn't hit you when you're behind death. So, the reason why you do that is because that will put death in the exact same position every single time. And during time stop, you cannot attack with a weapon, which in the spike hammer's case is actually good, because that means you can actually put the spike hammer into the enemy, then unstop time, and the spike hammer becomes a tool of destruction. So you can do the same thing against Alice. I'm not sure if I'll show the setup in this tutorial, but it's just a way to deal damage easily. You can usually kill death with just one of those. Okay, so we're at Dracula. Now here is a version difference. In the doujin version, Dracula has significantly less health. I think the international version has like 2.5 times as much health. Something like that. So, escape text as quick as possible. Now there are 3 patterns that Dracula has. I got the best one. But what you want to do is dash past Dracula a little bit, so that in the flame pillars, you can wait for 3 flame pillars to spawn, backdash, and end up on the right-ish side of Dracula, facing away. And then you just hold up, attack, and deal damage. And that will work for all 3 patterns. That'll work for all 3 patterns just as well. So you just might as well do it for every pattern. As goes with any Dracula fight, his only hitbox is his head, so you can go under him without getting hit at all. If you get hit by the head, it's, I think, instant death. So, there's that. Oh. When was the last time I saved? Probably a bit too late. So, because I was explaining things, I forgot one last thing. This victory pose right here, you can cancel it with that, I don't know what you'd call it, but it looks like a bell. That thing right there. If you get hit, or you parry, after Dracula has died, but before you do the pose, then the pose is cancelled. so you don't have to, so you save those few seconds. With that specific pattern I don't think I could have made it simply because of how the cycles on this thing works. But it looks really funny when you do it. So basically you have to be in the air while Dracula is dead, because you can't victory pose on ground. It's a thing. So here, change the sword for later. Now there are two strategies to this room. I haven't practiced this one at all, so bear with me. Okay. You can do a dash kick and hit the spike to get all the way here. That's one strategy. If you want to keep your stomp boots off, basically. The other strategy is, you know, stomp boots. Yeah. The reason why I mentioned that strategy is because you want to make sure your stomp boots are off. Also, time stopping when you get out of that room is recommended. Also, these enemies you can kill. These enemies normally you can only kill with the spike hammer, but you can also kill while time stopped with the dash kick. I think that only works in the doujin version. I'm not exactly sure. So, this area has a lot of RNG in it because of the patterns of the enemies. I mean, it doesn't mean a whole lot in terms of time, but it just makes it really hard to get these rooms consistent. So, the reason why you want to have your stomp boots off in this area is because you end up bonking yourself on all of these torches as you're going down. And if you have the sword, you can just, you know, attack downwards. So there's like no reason to have it. Plus, you don't want the missiles in this torch. One thing to note, 1, 2. 1, 2, jump, and then you can time stop here. Wall jump, hold left, and you can make it up. A lot of just little movement things. That dash kick there is a little difficult to do because if you try and go upwards all the way, you end up bonking your head on the ceiling. If you go completely straight, then you don't make it, so you kind of have to do a midway up kind of thing. Another thing to note is you want to have a good amount of time power. You want to just kill a whole bunch of things. If you're using the sword to kill things, it's not going to be an issue, but something to keep in mind because you need to make sure you have enough time power to get past these guys. 2 times in a row. So here's something with triggers in this game. If you're not familiar, is that this trigger right here, that little time stop thing, it will. Maybe it shows when I'm out of the room. Huh. But that is the trigger that lets you view the Chelsea cutscene in the room with the first boss. Just as a note. Another thing is that's also the trigger to get the purple door in this room to disappear. This door right here. Okay, this part right here. We're going to do 2 extended dash kicks. We're going to do a jump right here, and extended dash kick about where the loading zone is, and then another one about right here. It might be a bit difficult to do, but oops, 2 kicks, and then a whole bunch of oops. I cannot think very well as I'm talking. Play very well and talk. Well, whatever. Rest easy, jump, jump. That works. And then you dash kick here. Okay. This next doll right here is a little specific in being able to do it quickly. Now let me go back in. You can see the little blood thing up there, that's where the doll is. I want to be on the right-ish half of the tile. Retry that again. Don't want to go too far to the right. I'm trying to show the quickest way to do it. I was too far to the left. Yeah, it's really annoying to do it perfectly. I didn't get it. Basically, you can do that with one jump. And to get out of here, you want to jump as soon as possible. And you end up right there immediately. Push escape so you only go through one text box. Doll. And then you fall immediately down. Lights off. Then you do a straight dash kick, approximately where the loading zone is. Extended dash kick back up. It's probably the fastest way to get that. I don't know a very good way to do this room consistently, but you want to take damage. There, you want to take damage right now anyway, because you're going to do a ward later where it might be a little slow to kill yourself, so. That amount of life total is pretty healthy, but, you know, your mileage may vary on how much life you want. If you're just starting out, you're probably just going to save all the time, so. Yeah. Okay. So getting hit there is RNG. Now that I remember, the best way to do it is to actually... Man, I cannot remember my strats here. So, you just basically want to get the spike hammer here because we're going to be doing this. And you want to throw the spike hammer to kill these enemies while you're in the air, but while you're still above on the platform. Just, you know, as a bit of momentum. There you can use a time reversal to boost yourself up. Now what you want to do here, the dolphin room, it's quite a bit of RNG here, but the most consistent way I've found to do this is to dash kick upwards. You're holding up and not right. So what you can then do is then do a normal time stop. And then another extended kick to bring you all the way over here. Time stop again. Extended kick, extended kick. You might hit a dolphin on your way back to not get hit down there. That's the most consistent way. But dolphins can still get in the way. Since I had to save, I have a lot of health. And you'll see why I don't want health. because we're going to be doing a sine warp here. 36. 83. Got it. So you want to make sure you don't kill this guy. So you don't want to jump straight up, you want to do a rolling jump. And then the reason why we time stop here, I'll unprint stop to show it off. For some reason, he goes off of the spot that he can, basically off of the floor, and starts flipping. Okay. So the reason why we do a sine warp there is because of the definition of 100%. The way we've defined 100% is to make 100% appear at the very end when you complete the game. Not exactly collecting every item, because the way that the percent works at the very end is it takes the number of items you've collected the very last time you saved, and multiplies that by 2%. So there are 50 items in the game. 2% for each item. The reason why that's relevant is because you need the purple orb to do a certain save very late in the game. Otherwise, what we would do is, instead of warping off the sign there, we would warp off of the boomerangs, which would take us directly into the room beneath me. Okay, so something to note right here. I have... right there is enough time power for the room. You need 2 bars plus a little bit more. It's basically 3 time stops. So, I mean, just to be safe, you can save. But yeah, that's the thing. And you can just time stop whenever. Whatever. 3 time stops. So you... it's not necessary, but you want to warp off of this time power as right as possible to pick it up. It just saves seconds. It's not completely necessary. Otherwise, you'd just be bonking on those guys. And you want to just fall fast. So, here's why we pick up the purple orb. Well, first, I'm going to show the, probably the most consistent way to get through this room. Once you get past the first one, you're in time stop, and you can dash kick, do a jump, and you basically have the room in time stop as much as possible. Put down this orb. This is why we've picked up the purple orb, and it's the only time we'll use it. Yeah. Okay, so the next warp we do is off of this next time power. Now, it is the 8th time power-up we pick up, so we cannot use the escape key to make it easy to pick up. Now, there are 2 ways through this room. One way is probably the way that you did it in a casual playthrough, like that. But let me show you the other way, which is faster but harder. If I can pull it off. Okay. So this time power-up, you need to pick up 1 frame. You need to pick up 1 frame before you need to reset the game 1 frame before you pick up this time power. Now if you do this, you can actually tell which frame you'll pick up the time. The frame before you pick up the time power. Bunny will be facing down and her back will be completely flat. So right here, I'm 1 frame away. I can hold escape, confirm, flat. Bunny's facing down. I return to time. Now, if you fail this warp, that's okay. Because what you can do is you can kill yourself immediately, and then recall, and the time power will still be there for you to warp off of. So, right now I did the room reset glitch, and I end up right here. Review the chosen cutscene. And what that does is that opens up the final area. Oops. One thing to know about this, just as a little thing, there's, I think, 5 tile size for this, for time stopping here. And you can be as far away, as long as you're still in that tile. Like here, I'm going, if I time stop right here, I will get it. Time stop here, I won't. And it's just the X value. It doesn't matter if you jump into it from here, you still won't get it. And it's just a little thing I've researched. And it's not easy to tell for videos. So your way here, you want to get the sword. Now I'm a little low on health, so this next save I want to save because what we call the 2-switch room. The only room in the game that you actually need the 2 switches for 100%. You need to hit the 2 switches that were in God's Church. Or Dracula's area. To open that area. So... yeah. Those spikes can hurt you pretty hard if you're not careful. Okay, so now we go into fire and get all the items here. Pretty much normally. I'm doing this bad. I'd like to show off a good way to do this room. Okay. I wanted to get hit there. The reason why we do it now instead of earlier is because of the time power-up. The text on each time power-up, it matters the order that you get it in. Basically the warps that you get from them. Whenever you want to stand on this edge here, and pair there. That's kind of specific. If you mess it up, then you want to basically go back, reset the room. Hold the thought about the time power. So, once you've killed the eye, you can still get hit by it by running into it, but it's only that very center exploding area that will hit you. So dashing, doing a straight dash off of that one platform there is safe, and then that leads you into doing another dash directly into you. So, here is where having 4+ time power-ups is actually detrimental. So it takes 3 cycles to kill the cat by using a time stop trick, but that's only in 100%. In any percent, if you have 2 or 3 time power-ups, then you can actually do it in 2 cycles by just doing 2 kicks per cycle and stopping time on the second kick, or, you know, whatever. The reason why you can't do it here is because look at how much time power I've consumed doing 1 kick in time stop. For some reason, if you have 4 or more, then it consumes that much time power. Set it here. Well, that's pretty straightforward. So, you get this time power up right now because after you've gotten the 8th time power up, just simply because of how the ordering and the time warps work, it's just a route thing. I don't think I explained that very well, but whatever. So that's the reason why you do this early, is the messages you get from time power-ups. So we get this doll now, or at least I do. I don't know what Saber does. Whoops. Because it's easier to get with the sword, and when you go through this area the first time, you're gonna have the spike hammer, and it's just a little harder to do. I don't know if that's actually the fastest way to do that. So here, what you want to do is you want to stand right here, time reverse, so the numbers disappear, and you can dash immediately, because when Chelsea is on the screen, you can't. Time reverse. Grab the red orb, because you need the red orb to complete the game. Save wasn't really necessary, but whatever. And we pick up the last few items in the game. Okay, here is why we put down the purple orb. Is so you can do this save. I've picked up every single item. Now, after all the orbs have been done, and you didn't use any extra dolls, for whatever reason, you'll end up with 15 dolls. If you recall in this run, I used 1 doll in the forest area, so that's why I have 14 instead of 15. It's just kind of a check that you can do for yourself. Or what you can do is you can actually return and see 100%. Alright. Now for the Chelsea fight. There are 2 strategies for this, but the one I made versus the one Saver made. Saver's is a lot more consistent, even though mine is faster by 1, maybe 2 seconds. For at least the first phase of Chelsea. I mean, if you're going for like task perfect, I'm not going to show the strat, and it's so hard to pull off perfectly. You can push escape, X pass immediately, jump right as Chelsea hits the ground on the right of that pillar. It's kind of specific, but after some practice you can get the hang of it. So the sword, the best way to attack is to just hold attack. Hold attack, and then when you hit the ground, you can just attack again. So there are 2 ways to do this. I'm going to show the quote-unquote safer way. Show off the sword. That's the safer way. The other way you can do is by dash kicking Chelsea twice. The way you do that, in fact, let me just show that off. The dash kicking is like a second faster, maybe. And it's just basically whichever one you can do consistently. Also, you can do a kick at the very end after she does her energy beam. Okay, so you need to dash kick basically where the giant pillar starts. Right there. Get hit again. Okay, I screwed this up, so what I can do is I can time reverse. Usually I can get it right, but I am not doing this bad. Trying to talk all the way. Trying to show everything off. Alright, I'm gonna show my original method for this. See, it's already slower. Yeah, I've already screwed it up. Yeah, it's just not consistent. Okay, that's how that's supposed to be. Now, because I did that method, I ended up on the right, which is an argument for Saber's method on the left. By the way, you can parry off of those sniper hits as long as they do not headshot you. And basically, you just stand in that one specific spot and use the sword. So here's the Chelsea foreskin. Now, depending on how Chelsea died in Chelsea 3, she'll either bounce 3 times or 2 times. It's more often than not 3 times, and after she bounces, you can dash kick her and hit her with the sword twice. I'm gonna try and show that off. I messed it up because I was trying to... Because I think that was a 2 bounce, and... didn't quite get it. Basically, you dash kick, attack, hold left, and as you're holding left, you hold attack, get 1, swipe in with the sword, jump over her, and then do another hit with the sword, which will kill her. But you can see how much damage a single dash kick did. She's pretty much almost dead. So... one good hit will do it. So the reason why you want to be on the left is because... You kind of want to be on the left is because the swords appear quicker, but... You might also want to start from the right because... For some reason, if you... Swords like to put you on the left. Left of the hilt. Makes it annoying to do. From left to right. Whatever. I don't think there's much to say about that. Now this next one. Okay, this is one of the... I'd say this is the hardest phase. Not only because it's hard in and of itself, but because you have to do a setup into the next phase. Okay, with this phase there are 5 patterns. 3 of them you can do in one cycle, and you can just basically use consistently. This is not one of them. This is one of the 2, so you can time reverse to reset. I swear it works. Okay, this is one of the three. The other one that doesn't work is the the bursty one where she goes in the middle, to the right, to the left, and in the middle. You can't do the speedrun method off of that. And the 4 lasers, they're a little bit different in how they work. And how they work with the parrying. The pattern's a bit different, so... Another thing to note is... with this one... Yeah, this is basically the method. It's about 4 parries off of Chelsea as you're going down that you need. And on the 5th one, you get hit on purpose, and you attack. You basically attack her during damaged invincibility. And you move towards her and do a kick. Now, since I screwed it up a bit, I have to wait for another phase. And Chelsea gained health. So, what I just did right there, I kicked her before she did her first time stop on her last phase. That's very important. It makes the 7th phase basically trivial. If you can get the setup from the 6th phase, where you land on the floor before she does. Okay. This doesn't normally happen because... Did the game soft lock? No. I don't think it did, but... Okay. I can't show you the... So one kick, and then maybe a sword swipe will kill her immediately. And that is the run. I just did the room reset on that. That's funny. Reset glitch. Yeah, that's the run. That's the 100% run.